Good morning, good AM, good whatever hour it is for you. I thought I might just jump on here, see if anybody was up and lively at this strange time. Well, all time is quite strange. I say strange for me. I'm usually not up at 5. But today I am. So I figured we would see what everyone's doing. And for whatever reason, I couldn't put my phone into landscape. it wouldn't it wouldn't adjust, so you guys get to watch a black screen like this. Who is here? What's good, man? Oh, that's right. We'd be on Australia time at this point, huh? What is good? I don't know, just rolling out of bed. Just, nah, not really rolling out, just kind of rolling around in bed. Thought I'd say hello. See who jump on here. Breakfast. Breaking the fast of sleeping. It's not just what you eat. What's up, Jonathan Valentine? What's going on, man? I don't know if this makes me a morning person or a night person. Because, like, right now, this is nighttime for me. What have I been thinking about lately, man? Anything new to share? I've been in a place of a lot of no thought. That place of kind of emptiness. Um, you know, when I'm out doing a lot of work in the public sector, there's a lot of energy that I disperse amongst people, and then I like refill my cup. So I've been kind of in empty mode for a little bit here. I don't know. I've been watching a lot of videos and some Alan Watts this morning, and doing a lot of research on the Native American culture and the real natives of this land. Um, I don't know. A lot of thoughts that all fit together, syncretism, synchronicity, these kind of things. But I don't quite know how they fit together to explain much of a good story at this point. But I'm getting there. There's a few new things that has cropped up. It's we're looking. Is there? We're kind of declining in the moon phases. What percentage are we at in the moon right now? I don't even know. But usually that has a little bit of an effect, depending on what I've been eating. And the moon phase will have a different effect on me. Sometimes it's very. Oh, that's exactly what I was listening to earlier. Um, his name is J Dreamers. I don't know if y'all know who he is. Yeah, of course, CJ. Yeah. Uh huh. This dude J Dreamers. Um, he's really made a really nice channel for himself. He's very passionate and well versed in a lot of occult things, and um, I remember I first got into him because he was the only one out here really, he was the only one out here really telling people the truth about what real magic was, and like the people that got into BOI, blood over intent and all this shit. And I was like, yeah, I didn't think there was much moon. That's probably why I got up so early. CJ, Alan Watts concepts. Yeah, man. I'll do that in 1 second. But like, basically, I've been infused and imbued with Alan Watts for many years now. I've listened to probably as much Alan Watts as anybody on the planet. I would go to sleep with his, with like, I would put 8 hours of Alan Watts on and put my headphones in and go to sleep and listen to that like probably every night for about 2 years. Um, and I think that's really where mm, a lot of the foundations of concepts that I have of how life is, what it is, how it seems to function. A lot of tenets of Buddhism, But obviously, my name is the practice of Buddhism as well as the Atman. So, I mean, it's obviously sprinkled throughout all of my talks. But let me just finish up this Jade Dreamers thing, because he was talking about what the moon is, and this is something that I've considered and made. I've made many moon videos, the moon matrix, the salt matrix, and the Saturn matrix. And he was getting into, oh, and I was also listening to somebody that I just revisited, and see if we can tie this in here synchronistically. His name's Dennis Feccio, the Illuminatus Observer, and it's spelled Observer, OOBSERVOR, Illuminatus Observer. And this is who I used to study a long time ago when I first got into etymology. And he was going through. I was watching one of his videos because I didn't even realize he made videos, because I'd read all of his work like back in like 2011, 2012, 2013 when I was doing a lot of writing. And anyways, he made a couple of videos, and it was very interesting. He was talking about these different kind of codings. Obviously there's gematria, and he was getting into the letter L and how it's connected to Saturn, and even the word God is God, and if you add up the placement of the letter G, O, and D, the value is 26, which is why the alphabet is considered the gods. And so you have the capitalized and the decapitated letters. You have 26 capital letters and 26 decapitated letters, I mean, to cut the heads off of something, which was why you have the lowercase symbology. This is why Freemasonry is connected to the G, and the G is connected to, well, it's not just gravity, but it goes a little deeper than that. I'm not going to get into all of his work. Anyways, the point of this was to get into Jay Dreamer's work, and he was talking about now that I got into see, now I got into this little brain train, this little train track of thinking about all of the Saturnian concepts. I kind of got off track here. Here we go. But let me just rewind here. So back to Saturn being L and the god of Saturn and the cube and the time and all this, right? This I go through all of my talks with this kind of stuff. But the connection back to Jay Dreamers was that he was talking about the moon and the concept of the moon, and what it does is it's like the moon has cold light. It's extracting, and this is what I say I wake up in the morning, or I'm up right now, due to I function differently with the moon. I think it's just generally my Geministic qualities of, like, sometimes when there's a full moon, I'm out and about, and sometimes when it's a full moon, I'm like, nah, I'm staying in tonight. And sometimes when there's no moon, there should be, for most people, they have less energy, but I'm less controlled by salts because I don't ingest salt, so the moon doesn't have the same type of effect on me. And so Jay Dreamer is talking about the moon being an extracting thing. And this is what I used to get into with electric Tao all the time. And I've just changed my verbiage a little bit. Because the moon is an extracting thing, and there's a use and a purpose for it, but it's also a modulator. It's an extraction and modulation device, and especially when you get to I'll stick by the first part, which is it's extracting, because it's extracting because what it is money, and only certain people have money or moon energy, and it's only around certain times. It just disappears. So where's that disc that's in the sky go? When you're going to get your credit card called the disc over card, Discover. So it's the disc over your head, which is a debit or a debt card. So there's some interesting connections to when there's a moon and when there's no moon, and the energy people have, and whether or not they're night people or day people, whether you're nocturnal or not. I would say most people, about 92% of people, are strictly working off of circadian rhythms of the sun, even though they work with months and months and money and but they really hate. It's funny because people don't really like they don't like the sun. So this is a very big, confusing, inverted world that we live in, where people they want to put sunscreen on, and they're more concerned with money. Yet they don't want to go out in the sun. They don't want the sunshine. They don't want actual currency. The real currency comes from the energy of the sun. The moon kills things. It's always been that way, and this is where I've had the biggest, like, me and Electric Towel. We get in these little battles and tiffs that I just kind of just find. I'll call it a modulator, but it's still an extracting. It's still extracting. It still kills things. It's removing things that need to die sometimes. That's for sure. But if we look at what the portals are, there's two portals. The sun is a portal into the earth, and the moon is a portal out of the earth. But I mean, to where does that go if you haven't gone through it before? So the idea of being nocturnal, that gets into Dracula and vampires and all of the things that creep and crawl in the darkness of the night. But and I think there's only a small number of those people, very small number, that's their only thing they do. But see, this is the curious thing, is there's people that claim to be worshiping the sun god, but then they're dealing with monotheism, and monotheism, the word is mono, which is moon. It doesn't just mean singular. Their singular god is money, which is moon. So they're moon worshiping cults. This is why when you go to a church, you take money out your pocket and put it into the basket. Now, these people, what they don't know, the followers of it have no idea they're worshiping the moon, but they do, because they don't know they have no idea how the etymology breaks down, and they don't know that, like, they don't see the extraction that's occurring. You go into a cathedral. A cathedral is a catheter. That's why the catheters exist. If you go to a doctor and they put a catheter in you, they put a needle in you and extract blood. If you go to a church, it's a cathedral. It's catharsis, and it extracts energy. Your blood is your energy. Money is your energy. I mean, your real energy is spiritual. It's from somewhere else, but it's also in your blood. It's implosion in your blood, which is also connected to the tree and where paper money comes from and things like this. So all of that being said, I think there's a few people that can work in when you say, and I'll give you a little bit of Alan Watts mixed in with my theories on things, is he says you have to be able to walk in two realms in this world. You have to be walking in two realms. You have to walk on this earth, and you have to also hover off of it, really. I mean, you could work in three realms if you're really crazy with it. I would say, like, if you looked, you see now, and I don't even mean really crazy. I mean, if you say you live in two realms, then you're looking at duality. But if you live in three realms, then that's called the triune. And so there's more balance in triune. To live in two realms, I think, causes a little bit of, oh, you'd say somebody's, oh, they're spiritual or they're on the earth. Well, no, spirituality is already perfected, the three states. And you'd say what's underground, or what's in the water, and what's in, what's in the earth, what's in the water, and what's in the air. Those are the realms. And so in the same way, you would say you live on the earth, or like in the dead world, and then in the upper realms. So like the plane of the angels, or the devas, and then you have the devils. Even though deva actually means angel, which is then you get into strange things that they do with the etymology. But then you say, oh, where does the devil live? And why is the earth so hot beneath your feet, or is it the sun? And we play this really weird game. But the point that I try to make here is that if you can live in three realms, which is, well, you're gonna have to take a nap. So you're already in if you go to sleep ever, you're in the dead world. It's the little death. When you have an orgasm, you die for a minute. When you go to sleep, you're dead. For all you know, you're dead. So you have to be able to live there. You have to be able to live on the earth and the day-to-day things that go on earth. And then you have to have, well, what does he say? Yeah, your feet on the ground and your head in the sky. And you need to be able to like be a bird person. You need to be a bird person or an Aryan, and you need to be a water person or, you know, of the earth. There's these certain places that we have to observe ourselves living. I mean, I always say, oh, we don't sleep out here, but you know, every time you got to recharge yourself. We go into the different brain waves, the delta brain wave, the deep sleep, where there's healing occurring. We go in a theta realm where we can get out of body and do other things like in other places. And then you have your beta and alpha brain waves. But beta brain waves ain't really, beta is like where you get that beta fish. It's beta, alpha, theta, delta. Delta is the lowest, beta is the highest, and then there's also gamma, which kind of, you know, gives you those the five or the physicality. But most people have, you know, getting to a gamma brainwave is super healing. But most people, they have no idea what the breath work is because they don't know what Aryan means, and they think Aryans are the evil people because they were blonde haired and blue eyed. But that's not correct at all either. And yeah, so the connection to all of that and the moon, and getting an understanding of what the moon is doing. So like for me, because I have a Geministic characteristics, I can deal with the polarity much different than other people. So sometimes the moon affects me, and sometimes it does not. Sometimes I like the full moon. Sometimes I like no moon. I have more energy. Like some people are usually exhausted during a no moon. So if I to, in while being a little bit redundant here to kind of clean up the idea, if you're connected to the salt world, which means you're connected more to time and more to Saturn, which is also Satan, which is Earth, you're more dense and affected by time. So you're also affected by the moon because the moon is actually part of the original clock. I mean, obviously you're dealing with months. So here's your time. How long? How many months have you been here? How long does a baby in the womb? They talk in months, right? So there's a very big connection to how much salt we ingest, meaning not the organic stuff. No, we gotta clean that language up somehow, because it's not the same thing. We're talking about energies versus physical dead sea salts. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You're gonna go to the Himalayas. Somebody was asking me about this the other day, and I cover this in just about every video because somebody always has to ask me. I'm just like, oh man, just listen to all my videos, any of them, not all of them, just listen to any of them. The salt from the Himalayas. You don't live in the Himalayas. You just don't live there. I'm willing to guess you don't live there. And people go, well, I need salt in my system. I was like, well, you don't even know what your system needs. I think you need clean water and sunshine first. But then everybody like, nah, we need salt. But that salt is literally connecting you to a slowed down version of reality, a dead version. Um, and when I say, you know, and again, there's nothing wrong with the dead world because it's all connected. Like life and death are the same thing. So, it's just a matter of perception, perception management devices, perception management systems. And it's like whenever people they get confused about death, funerals, and you know, putting people in graves and tombs, and like you're already entombed in your body. You're already living in the dead world. The world around you is dead. You might be living, hopefully. I think most people that come to my channel are living. They're part of a living group of people. And there are dead people. And those dead people are usually, now they were born, not birthed. They were born, and they were also birthed, but they were born, and then as soon as they came out the womb, the doctored everything, started poisoning them with salts. What do you think's in all the pills, all the drugs, everything? It's all salts. So it extracted their spirit. It didn't really extract it, but it calcified. If we use that term, it it coagulated their blood. It made their spirit kind of. If you take salt is a cube, so it became a mirror and confused the spirit. So people are actually encased or entombed. Well, they were already entombed in their body, and then there was another body put on them, which was the salt body, which is the covenant with Saturn. which is connected to the L's and the angles. But these are the fallen angels or the fallen angles. Because you have devils that are going up. You have like people from lower realms going up into the higher realms, and you have people that were at the higher realms. When I say people, I'm saying it in the spirits. We'll do that encased into different densities. That's why certain people they when you change your I don't mean to get all like the new agey on people, but if you change your vibration, it's like if you do psychedelics, you're changing vibrations, you're changing the speed in which your eyes are adjusted to frame rate of reality. You're adjusting the frame rate at which your eyes can see something, and your body pulses. So everything you do is changing that to a degree. So this is why people can see into other realms while they're awake. They can see things you can't see. I mean, you could just imagine, think of when you're like, dude, just look at the thing, and people can't see it, they can't hear it, whatever it might be. You always like you can't hear that sound, you can't see that now because they're clogged up. They've clogged up all of their portals, and until until you get the original clogs which were installed in you basically when you came out the womb, until you can remove those things, you can't you know you can't really see or hear everything. You can't feel anything. I mean, yeah, I mean, a lot of people you can do some fasts here and you can clean some here and you can clean some there, but you know, I mean, you could think about a house. You live in a house. If you don't rip all the drywall off and get right down to the studs and the bare bones of the walls, and go, is this foundation solid? You don't get underneath the house if you don't know those things. Then it might be all shiny and neat in your house because you did a juice fast. There's people out here like all bright and shiny. They did one juice fast and they're like, oh, they're the healthiest person on the planet. And they think they're like woke up and are all conscious about shit. Eh, I don't know. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. That juice is that juice is nice, but you got to go backwards in time. And so what fasting does is it fast forwards you in reverse through all of the salts that you've ingested. And so that's what we try to remove the blockages, which are when you say blockages, they can be so many different ways. They can be physical, but they can also be what's happening is you're refracting your light body by putting salt in you. And so there's kind of the big talk that I always do on the salt, moon, matrix, sun, earth, realms, and the connection to your boy that I was talking about. What is his name? I'm sorry, I kind of just wild out here, but yeah. J Dreamers. So let me get back and see what you guys were saying. What's up, Sydney City? Yeah, Jay is cool. I like his channel lots. You were a BOY guy for a while. Oh man, I had to take all those down because all I got was fucking mad hate from those people. I'm like, you're sitting here talking to like a real deal. Like I've studied. I know about magic. And like, so I'm just telling people, like, you realize, like, your blood is just a dirty version of your urine. And if you were smart, you would be doing urine over intent. And I would just it just turned into everybody that did it. I thought they were supposed to be like all about love for everyone. But then they would come to my channel and shit all over my channel and tell me I was a piece of shit and I was lying and I was part of Satan's army or some shit. And they would be wild out on me. I'm like, I'm actually just delivering you like all of the real deal, full spectrum magic and what you're dealing with, and saying, there's so many other fluids in your body you can work with. I would get into that. I'd be like, you can use your urine, you can use your sweat, you could use your semen. That's one of the major ways to do it, and it's life giving. It's like the highest form of blood plasma is your urine. So I would say your urine and your semen are the two strongest things. Your blood would be your weakest because especially if you're not a cleansed vessel. Just because you put some blood on a piece of paper or something, that doesn't do really a damn thing, especially if you have dirty blood. So I always used to put that in people's heads just to give them like, dude, there's more to magic than just like thinking you can prick your finger and you change the whole fucking world. Because if that was so, it would have already happened. with all these people out here doing it. I'm not saying anything that's wrong with them or against them. I'm just saying, like, understand what magic is before you start thinking you can, just push one button on the console and all of a sudden everything is just magical, and it's because it doesn't work like that. That's not how the magical realm works. Yeah, you should be using sunny instead of money. Yeah, not necessarily AT, man. See, the thing is, the money has a purpose. So, like, here's what you'd use the Mooney for. If you have crystals that have built up an energy charge, take them out on a full moon, and it will extract all the bad energy out of them. The moon will extract bad energy from you. It'll extract good energy from you too, but it's mostly an extraction device, and it'll modulate things. It can balance you. It can balance certain people, but the sun. You need to use them, and at the beginning it would be more a proper measure to have a equal healthy balance of moon and sun energy, but then you would charge up fully on the sun. So for people to say, hey, you can clean your crystals by using water and a little bit of soap, or you could use the moon, or you could use the sun. No, they're not. They're repeating shit, and this is why I get into these crystal communities, and you don't actually know what you're doing with these crystals. You can't tell people you can charge it on the moon because you're not. You're extracting energy, and you're basically cleansing something. You're cleansing a crystal with the moon. You're charging it with the sun. It's two different things. You can watch it in the plant world, and if you know what a crystal is, it's an embodiment of basically uh, crystallized water. It's crystallized water and light. It's something in between. It's something like a memory. It's something like your crystal skull. It's a very unique substance. And so you can't go outside and just leave if you just leave a plant out during the evening and then bring it in when it's sunny out. You know what happens? You kill that plant. That's 100% facts. There's not a damn thing out there that's going to grow in the moon. And then I had somebody try to argue, what about the nightshades? I was like, no, nightshades don't grow. You know what? You know what a tomato is, a nightshade? It's because it needs to be shaded from the night. A tomato needs about 8 to 12 hours of sunlight a day to grow best. It wants shade from the night. It doesn't. It's not giving you night. People are like, oh, it's bad. It's ooh, the evil nightshade. Like, no, you just don't understand what's being said because the language has been double and triple entendres and meanings within the same word in the same language. Uh, I challenge somebody to go grow something in the moon. You can't do it. You grow it in the sun. It's always been that way. So, and the same thing will happen with your crystals. Like, again, there's you go make some moonshine. There's healthy things to get, and there's excellent things to get in the spiritual realm out of the evening, but it's not where growth occurs in the way that people think it does. What's up? What's up, Shirley Cortesi? What's up, Shaman Clown? What's up, Freak? Does salt slow down time for you? What slows down time for me? Hmm. Uh, I think anything dense, really. Food, food slows down time for me, especially if I'm eating something shitty. Yeah, because then it takes longer to digest, and the word digestion means to split apart something. So if I take the energy out of my brain and I put it into my stomach, and I put it into well, you'd call it your first brain. You have apparently there's a brain in your stomach, which is true. Now, if I put all the information in there, it's a long transit time. It takes a long time to go through my river of life or river of death, depending on what I've put in it. And all of a sudden, I have to actually wait to take a shit to feel better. Everybody knows this. You take a shit, you get the dump chills. Anybody get the dump chills? You know what I'm talking about? And then all of a sudden, you got energy. Go watch a dog. Go watch a dog take a shit, and all of a sudden, it smiles and it can run. Well, because you're holding on to shit, you're holding on to weight. It makes you wait. So yes, it slows you down quite a bit. This is why I place so much importance in my journey at this point on things that induce energies into the body or cleanse. I'm trying to add energy or cleanse, and those things are like living systems or spiritual systems, meaning sauerkraut, living, fruits, living, alcohol, living. When I say beer, when I say alcohol, I mean beer, living. But if I want to add spirit to my life, then I'll drink alcohol. But that's my part of my journey for whatever I'm doing. So I would only suggest to people, hey, they go, oh no, alcohol is horrible. Well, what are you talking about? I thought everybody took alcohol and they extracted plant matter in it so that whenever they needed it, they could, drink the spirit of, say, oregano or sage. If I take some 190 proof vodka and I put some sage in there and some oregano, and all of a sudden that's an extraction. It's extracted out all of the energy and the spirit of the plant, so I can use it at a later date. So for me, that's what's where I am. I don't think that's smart for someone that's 250 pounds out of shape to do that. I don't that's not going to work well with them. They should be on a water cleansative thing. They should be on like maybe a little bit of vodka, probably some beer because they want to use that living beer to break down everything in their body and the sauerkraut. But yeah. And water, Sydney, yeah, water is a very, water and crystals are very, very interesting, huh? They always, I mean, isn't that how we were born into this realm? We came through what? Urine. You want to get faster into other realms? Drink your piss. I mean, that's how we got into this realm, right? Come through your mother's. I mean, it's always look into all the movies, all of the esoterica, all of the movies, all these workers, all these how do they work with light? If you really got into what a light worker is, well, how do you think people make films? They make films because they're always working with light. And what is film? Film is what's on top of water. And so in all of these movies, what you'll find is the film itself is actually, I mean, they're using a bunch of different chemicals on top of a film, which is what separates you from the water. It's a different realm, but that's only a visual imaging stimulating idea. It's not actually another realm. I mean, you could go through I suppose. I mean, that's a portal right there. That's called the black mirror. You have the white mirror, and you have a black mirror, and then you also have some other things. But the original mirror was water, and so in all these movies, you'll find the fire scene, you'll find the water scene, and they're giving you the elementals. The good directors at least are. Even the poor ones, they're putting some esoteric in there. They're putting some occulted things that are really they're really not occulted anymore. If people really pay, it just all you got to do is there's enough of us out here. There's enough teachers out here that just been like, this is exactly how it works. Just watch the movie, listen to what we're saying, and you'll see that the slippery lubrication through realms. I mean, what do you think everything? What do you think sex is? Lubricated with where are you stored? You're stored in a satchel, in a pouch of water, of urine. What cleanses your brain? What should your brain be made of? You want to go in a different realm? Make sure your brain is full of water. It should be like 93%, probably 97% water. Most people's brains are probably in the 60% range, like super dehydrated. That's why people have memory problems. Well, that and the fact that they don't get enough light in their eyeballs. So if you don't get light in your eyeballs, how do you think you're going to stimulate your brain? If we're in a dark room all the time, it's not really, you're not going to have any biophotons inside of your system. What's up, Fire Jack? Hey, I just got your I just got your email. I'll check your video. I seen it was that tarot thing. I seen the beginning of it. But it was like, I was like, that's actually what woke me up. And I just woke up in the middle of the night and I was like, why did I do this? And I look at my phone. I was like, oh, I was like, my man Fire Jake sent me something. I was like, but I was like, I need like an hour more sleep here. So I'll check that out soon, man. Mm-hmm. Fire Jake, yeah, water is the criterion. Yes. Shirley Cortesi, did I burp already? It's too early for that. Yeah, dense foods definitely sold on time, AT. Yeah, when you say someone's full of shit, this is right. This is why you have a waist. Where your waistband is where your waist is why you wait on things. To wait is to WEIGHT is also the wait, like you slow down, wait. Yeah, we want to be more liquid like people. But again, see, this is the thing that I stress to the point of feasting and fasting, which is, more of a Mayan, I don't want to say a cosmology. I mean, it works within the way that the people worked. Is you live in all of these different realms and dimensions. There's sometimes it's a good idea to be dense. Sometimes it's a good idea. Sometimes that's something what you want to do. I mean, like people always go, Zen, if you know all this shit, why aren't you fucking blah blah blah? Like why aren't you just like manifesting all this and going off to another, like, because if I did that, then I wouldn't be able to teach all of you about that. That's the point I try to be redundant with people. Like for me to do this here, I have to densify myself. Because if I just start like vibing real high, you fuckers will not hear from me. And I don't mean that in a negative or like fuck you guys. I just mean it like I'll probably go to an island and just chill out on an island. I don't know. I have no idea what I might go sit in a mountain. I might go. I don't have fucking no idea. I might go to Nepal. I'm like I don't know. But I like the world. I don't have a problem with it per se. Sometimes it becomes too challenging and it's too dense, and I'm like, well, fuck this. I'm fasting, and then I'm hearing a high vibe. But you guys probably won't hear from me for like 2 weeks. That's just part of the process for me at least. So sometimes for people, they've been dense their whole life and they need to lighten up. And sometimes people are just like out here space cadet and like no, come down here. You're out there like you have no idea what's going on. This is like we're in the trenches out here. Yeah, that kind of attitude where you get people that are too airheaded and you get people that are too like dense. And so that's we got to swim through those realms. The remember that you're the fire, but you're maintaining fire, um, which is which is really plasma and energy, but you're maintaining that through being a physical being, being a water type being, and being an Aryan type of being. So that's just how we jump through the different realms there. Gary Baxter, watch TV 8 hours a day for good energy. As much as television it's a tool. It's a tool used for somebody else's purposes. But if you know how to look at something, Gary, it's like when you understand, like, oh, then obviously you're not watching the movie anymore. You're observing it, and you're going, what am I learning from this? A lot of people just want to be entertained. Mm. But then if when people start to really study film, like Stanley Kubrick and all these masters out there that are really working with film to like teach people. There's a whole other thing going on. So you can watch TV different. I mean, man, I don't even know that. Shit, I look at that black screen just so I can like meditate off of it. I don't know. I don't know. I project images onto that. I don't. That gets turned on so infrequently. Oh, there we go. The only influx of energy I get really is through people I know on the internet. So I kind of get a little validation that they actually exist and they're we're exchanging value. So I get on like the Instagrams and the YouTubes, and it's a platform to exchange energy rather than a one dimensional bullshit where you give $80 to the cable company so they can inject you with more poisonous material, which doesn't make any sense, but it's what people do. um, Master Blast out here, yo. The blackbird or the blackbeard. I'd be hanging with the crows all the time. Um, if someone was sun gazed with bare foot while in the metal boat, interesting. Will you still be grounded? I've heard people talk about it in a way that you could be in a plane, and if you can energetically connect to that spiritual body, and if you can visualize it, you can still connect yourself to the ground, even if you're on an airplane. The metal boat thing is interesting. I think there's still a little bit of a barrier. I think there's a reason that wood used to be used and now they use metal. It's the same way moccasins and shoes were made with leather, and there's a reason that you have leather, like leather, for a wallet, because what it's doing to the energy you're holding, it's called a wallet, a small wall. It's a feminine version of what a wall is, and a wall holds energy or currency. So you'd put your currency in a wallet. Now, all of a sudden, your shoes, also your feet, if you covered that up with a natural skin, it would be much different than if you put rubber on your soles, which I think is very much connected to the the changing of boats from being wood. I'll bet you if you've been on a wood boat, it's a whole different experience, a feeling being on that wood boat than being on a metal boat. So I can't. It's been a long time since I've been on boats, and I never. You know, at the time I wasn't. There was no like, hey, I'm in a little paddle boat here, or in a really, high class, $80,000 made of cherry or oak or whatever. Probably cherry. I've never been on one of those nice things, but I bet you that's a whole different experience. I bet you're really like connected to it. Obviously, there's a reason that wood is used in places, and now they've even gone to making studs in houses with metal, which doesn't, from an energetic standpoint, it's awful. From a building standpoint and from lasting, yeah, it's maybe, but from an energetic standpoint, it's fucking horrible. What up, Shaman Clown? Of course. What's up, Samara? What's going on over there? What are you doing? I would meet Wise over here sleeping right now. She'll probably get up in a little bit. I'll bring her out. You can see her, Samara. She's been lazy dog. Me and her been just couching it out because it's been so hot out. I sweat for like 3 days. I was out for like 3 days, getting lots of sunshine and spreading the energy and the happiness. And then I was like, I need a couple days indoors. So I need to take my little time off. Ooh, Gary Baxter, do I associate density with intelligence? No. I associate density with how quickly you can transmute things. Obviously, the air can transmute. If it's in the air, it can just. If it's in the water, it's going to take a little longer. But if it's on the ground, it's going to take a really long time. So it's not really intelligence, because I know people that are very grounded out, that are highly intelligent. Um, could they really, you know are they quick-witted? Not necessarily, but there's quick-witted people that aren't as firm in their constitution of what they believe. Like, you know, if you just stood there in your own like element, knowing, and you say in your own element, like if you're an earth signs and air signs get along very well, because air signs are very quick-witted, but earth signs just stand there, and so it works out. There's no like there's never a real like a battle between the two, because it can't happen. Like air and earth can't battle. It doesn't work. There's nothing can go on there really. So it's a very interesting. So no, I don't think it's a sign of intelligence. I think people, I think people can, but you know what? You can also think of it this way, Gary. If you say somebody is a, are you dense? Is just as bad as saying, are you an airhead? It's the same thing, right? You can find people that are dumb as shit that are airheaded. Chicks that are like, oh, they're out here. It's associated blonde-haired, blue-eyed chick, airheaded, right? Aryan. That's where it comes from. Or dense people. They're just like mouth breather, like earthy people, and they can both be equally as airheaded or dense, or very very sharp, quick-witted, and strong-minded people. So there's that, man. Yeah, hey, there you go, Fire Drake. Copper is good, gold and silver. Yeah, I've always said it's this way. It, if we're told it's gold, silver, then copper in that order, like you'd say gold, silver, and bronze. then I would say, well, if everything's inverted in this world, then what's the most valuable? If I look around, everywhere I look, I see copper. I see copper in the walls. I see it going to my speakers. The sound that I get, the energy that comes through. They're not putting gold and silver in the walls, not because it's not as, not because it's not more, I say valuable, like monetarily valuable. Well, if it's inverted, then the most expensive would be the least useful. What would we use it in? If copper is used everywhere for everything. So it's not because there's more of it. That's not that because that's not true at all. There's not more. There's not more copper. It's just more useful. It's used in everything that gives you energy, and it's more conductive. The conductivity of silver versus gold versus copper. Well, if gold was more conductive, they would be using gold, but it's just not. It has different properties, but yeah. So yeah, but that's the because there's something different about silver, copper, and gold, and the way that it doesn't. Um, it's its interaction with salts and waters, but mainly with its interaction with salt, or excuse me, with water. Yeah, the sun gazing with iron as a boat or iron in your body. You want to get iron out of your body, unless it's organic iron, which is a completely different thing. But we have so many things in our body that we use that is not for the human. In fact, I mean, I've always said I don't even really know how I feel about the human consuming any metal elements for that matter, copper, gold, or silver included, even colloidal or ionized and all that shit. Some people they get benefits out of it, but I don't know. I kind of look at I always say like the simplest thing is like, what would the organic simple human be consuming? What does the baby consume? Start there, and then, okay, now we can become alchemists and start playing with elements, um, which is fine and dandy because that's what we're supposed to do. It's all a magical playground out here, but the only way, like somebody was telling me the other day, I didn't realize this, that I believe Concord grapes have trace amounts of gold in it. So this is why like Concord grape juice and Concord. I mean, you could even get to like why the what's the favorite Jewish drink? Manischewitz. That's basically Concord grape juice. Now, is it because there's gold in there and there's something else happening? I mean, it could be. Thanks, Shirley Cortez. You came on YouTube looking for roofing do-it-yourself. We could talk. You want to talk about roofing? We can make this into. Shirley, you know how these talks work. You know, there's nothing I don't know, or is there's everything that I do know. Let's not use double negatives and confuse people. You want to talk about roofing? What you want to know? You know what? And you could probably ask Gary. I seen those things that you're fishing with. Those things that look crazy, B. Yeah, yeah. Fire Jake, bring some copper and bare earth. Mm-hmm. Uh, Deus Ex Machina. You know, I've never. That was a movie, right? I've never seen that. I don't know how I haven't seen it. I'll check it out. That was a movie, right? Yeah, I that's cool, Shirley Cortesi. You keep finding copper bracelets. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna find myself some. Um, there's some crystals and some materials that I want very soon that I need to manifest to ground me out because I'm at a new. There's a I don't know, just being the peak of the summer here and how much sunshine energy I'm gonna be getting. So I had my little birthday month, and I did like all the Gemini shit, and now it's Cancer Month. It's very funny. I've been doing very, interestingly enough, crab and cancer-like things. I've been eating garbage, like literally eating garbage. That's what crabs do. And I've just all month I've just felt like eating trash. Like I've eaten McDonald's this month. That's how fucking trash I've been eating. Like I just been out being, just grinding in the street and just eating like fucking. I'm eating today, and it just was like, okay, this is what this is what my body is wanting me to do. It's not obviously like to me like I've already gone through the mental hijinks of being like, oh, I need this, I need to have this, and I was like, no, this is just really what my body is asking for right now, and so I was like, oh, that's what I'll eat. So I ate it. Eat it. I was doing this crab thing, but as this crab month comes to a close here, what are we looking at? Like the 15th, 16th? Yeah, as we get to an end here, the next month is gonna be a lot more fluid for me, and we're gonna have some. I'm gonna manifest some things that are more spiritual in nature, and I'm definitely doing a fast here because it's too fucking hot to be eating. It's if you eat it never made sense to me. You go to the beach towns, you go to these places, and they serve you fried food. I'm like, why don't they just have why in all these beach towns isn't there like fresh fruit stands everywhere? Well, it's because I mean it's a bigger scheme, but like who wants to eat fried food and go to the beach? It doesn't even make any sense. And so like I'm getting on this high vibe diet here. Cool, man. Shaman Clown, being creative, that's good. That's good. Maintain that creativity, you know. That's funny because I didn't. That's probably one of my that's one of my Achilles heels. Really, is I grew up being um, physically creative, like sports wise, mentally creative, language and shit. But I just like I never really got into the drawing and creating like that. And it's always something that I want to do, but then I start doing it, I'm just like, I'm not entertained by it. I'm not, it doesn't, I'm just like, that's just not, it's not what I want to do. It's like, I think if I was around more creative people, I'd be doing more creative things, but it's hard to do that, because then I get engulfed with the people that are being the creatives. And then this is like me saying earlier that then I wouldn't be in teaching mode. Then I would be just be in interacting with people mode, which I do all the time anyway. So I just interact in a different way. I go through interaction to teaching, but as far as like getting around people that are really creative, it would be, you wouldn't see me for a long time. I would just be like, oh, it looks like I'm gonna be off on this little journey of creating with these people for. So I create this way. This is my creation. What's up, Leo? Polycarbon fiberglass boats. Yeah, I can see that. Now here, you want to upgrade it? You want to start making cool boats? You want to make cool boats? Make organite boats. Start sandwiching the shit together the right way. So you're using, so when you use polycarbon fiberglass, you're using three elements that are all, you'd be stacking them all inorganic. If you stack them the same way that we should be stacking our shoes to turn it into organite, if we made our boats by taking an inorganic substance and then sandwiching an organic substance inside of it, you'd be doing the right thing there. You'd make in one way the boat would be a piece of organite, and in another way it would be a Faraday cage, depending on how you sandwich them. If you start on the outside with the inorganic and then go to organic, depending on how many sandwich together, you're making either, you know, if you understand what a Faraday cage is doing, and you could even sandwich it, you could make a piece of, I mean, that would be crazy, but yeah, you just sandwich the top of it so you could put yourself in the belly of it, and you'd be pressurizing yourself from the top with a Faraday cage, and beneath connected to the water with a piece of organite. That would probably be some crazy shit you could do. So whenever this starts, now that this information is leaked into the public sector, all I ask anybody to do is just, if if you use this idea, just give me a boat. Just put it out there and just send me a note that you got a boat for me. And you can just, that will be your thank Zen for telling me that I can make a boat out of organite and Faraday cage materials. Yeah, Gary, we were talking about that the other day. You said copper pipes, wires, coins, cooking utensils. Coppers are very useful, and if you copper is if you use it when you're gardening. We were talking about this the other day, and for anybody that's new to this stuff, you take copper tools to garden with, and as you drag it through the earth, you're actually charging what's going on in the earth because there's a bunch of other elements in the earth that are now when you use steel, you're cutting through the electromagnetic field in the earth, and that's so when they say the earth has become mineral depleted, you have to really consider for a second that can't be true unless, of course, we're doing something different. The minerals didn't get depleted. We've cut off the energetic charge because back in the day, we've been on this land for a long time. I don't know how many years, certainly. Seems to be, when I say we, I'm talking about natives, the originals or the aboriginals, whatever you want to call, however you want to use that. But prior to that, prior to the white man that came here, which wasn't white at all, but you know how we say it. Um, they started using different tools. They started putting they put steel train tracks down. Okay, and they start using steel tools in the earth. So it didn't deplete the way that you think of it. You think there's little elements in the earth that are going into the plant. That's not how it works. They're actually killing the soil by putting the crops and growing them this way every time and dragging steel through the. If you were to take, if they were to just take the steel off of there and make it all out of copper and stop putting them in straight lines, you could re-energize the field almost instantaneously. There's another free one. Take it, use it, fix the fucking world. I'm telling you how to do it. I don't have all the. They still haven't released my $369 trillion to me yet. So as soon as that happens, I can go make all this shit happen. But until then, y'all can go take these ideas, fix the fields, fix the earth. It's easy to do. You want to get crazier? What I just say about making the boats, make the machining tools, do it. Make them out of organite. Start with steel. Start with the steel. Then wrap that with, oh, then you'd wrap it with this. Then you'd wrap some copper around it. And then you'd put some crystals in there. And then you'd put some, now run that through the field. See what happens. Super energized. Hey, fire check, I hear you. The wooden copper boats half filled with urine floating in this ocean. Look at the crystal. Yeah, throw some crystals in there, and see at the sea they would use brass because copper is going to turn blue, and it's just gonna. It's the copper is good, but I think the reason they introduced there's Fire Jack, go look through my videos maybe about a year and a half ago. I did a whole thing on this idea here. Um, but it was about the different noble metals and noble gases and why they add an element to copper to make brass, right? And so this is why when you have an ocean, you have you have a vessel used in the ocean which has salt in it. That's gonna be you want it to be brass rather than copper, and because I forget what they add as the other element. Maybe it's zinc. I think they add zinc to copper, and they use copper ore and zinc to make. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I did a whole video on this, and look into that. But there's that could be fresh. I mean, that's how they used to make boats, anyways, because it could handle the salt because the salt's gonna still eat away at stuff because it's connected to the moon and stuff. Yeah, you were telling me about that, the amethyst crystal wand you made. Shirley Cortesi, that it must have stopped on your side. Hopefully it came back to you already. Sydney, are white people Aryan? Air people are Aryan. Um, uh, let's do this. So all of the books that we read, if it's been written in American, okay, well, we say English, but it's America. Um, let me see how I can break this down for you. Well, America means rich soul. English is a spin. Um, we're reading things in a language that we don't quite know. And so when we look at the stories of, say, the fallen angels, the Anunnaki, the archangels, the gods, all of it, why are they always white? I mean, when I say white, why are they non-melanated? It depends on whose history books you're reading. But the originals didn't write books because they were always doing mouth to ear teaching because they knew they didn't need to cut the tree down. They didn't observe cutting the tree down as a wise move. That's why their huts were made out of clay. There it is. It's on the earth. We can make mud. We can make bricks and mud and out of this right here. We're just going to make mounds differently. And then some not so brilliant person, for whatever reason, maybe there was a more brilliant purpose. I mean, we could get back into the old ancient trees, which supposedly were made out of silica and silicone, and we got Silicon Valley and these giant trees. And there's a longer story there, but cutting down these trees to write books. Now we're reading these books and looking at these pictures of these people that were, we call them white, which actually means, well, it's connected to demons. And then we could look at what black means, and black means bleached, so it actually means white. So they've bleached out the pages of history. Why do you think all the pages in books are white? They took what could have been cream or tan or brown pages and wrote on them, but instead they bleached them. They bleached the history out. So whenever we look at these gods, these Aryans, we say people that came from the air, and they have blonde hair and blue eyes and shit. I don't know. I don't. I don't think all Aryans are blonde haired and blue eyes because you can find people that have melanation in their skin that have blue eyes and even blonde hair. So the only things you're really missing is how melanated is their soul? How rich is their soul? Where are they from? You can look at, see, eyes are a weird thing too because there's a certain idea of what the blue eye and the brown eye means. And when I say the brown eye, I mean talking about the poop hole, so no jokes here. No brown eye jokes. Um, the one is if you stare into the sun, like some people believe if your blood is clean and pure, that your eyes will go blue. And other people think that your eyes will become melanated. It's interesting because one of my eyes becomes darker, one of my eyes becomes lighter. I don't know. This one becomes very blue. This one becomes very brown. So yeah, maybe it's just my pathways because on my left side of my body, I've had more injury, and I have like what I would think would be like ancient injury if I believed in reincarnation. I can't say I do or I don't, but I do have um, an energy pathway on my left side that isn't as functioning as my right side. So it might have something to do with the flow of energy into my eyeballs. But with that being said, are all Aryans white? No, I don't think so. And when we say white, you know what I mean. Um, there are no white people, there are no black people. If we start to correct that language, we'd have to just start saying uh, yellow, red, tan, cream, brown. Um, we start with those colors. Maybe even blue people, but that's hi. There's the little one right there. There she is. What are you doing? Yes. That's the dog. That's Sirius right there. That's the dog star. AT, well, thank you. That's hilarious. Yeah, that is a movie though. Yeah, I think yeah, Dos Ex Machina. I think it's just called Ex Machina. Hi. Yeah, good morning. Yeah, hell, Gramites. I like the name. I like the name. What's up, Mary Curry? Yeah, Gary back. There we go. We got to it. Yeah, Fire Drake. And Fire Drake is hot. It's hot where you are, Leo. It's hot out there. Yeah, it's like nine. It's been like 93 these past couple days. I was out when it was like 91. It was like 100 and something with the heat index and all that. And so you out dancing and listening to music and drinking and eating. And I just I needed a couple days off. But today I'm gonna be back out there in the real world for a little bit. That Cuban was nice. Oh, Shirley Cortesi. Maybe it was because my speaker was. I was had my phone sitting here. I think my speaker's at the bottom. Could everybody still hear me? Hope you didn't miss anything good. I need to ride that shit first. Hmm. Oh, Fire Drake. I'm a. You know what? You know what? I'm giving up for Lent this year. I'm giving up. I'm giving up conspiracy theories. I'm just. They just don't serve me anymore. I'm just tired of them. They just get in the way of things. Because and when I say conspiracy theories, there's conspiracy facts everywhere. Everyone's conspiring for something. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, but I hear what you're saying. I think I know what happened for the voice that went out. I kept putting my speaker down. Like, right, hold on. Can you hear me now? You can't hear me right now, can you? You can hear me now, but not now. I think I kept putting my phone down because I normally have it up on my side, or up on the side of the phone, and for whatever reason I couldn't. It was being it was being janky. I couldn't flip my phone the right way. So, hey, Gary Baxter. So the a copper hoe, bend up. Um, no, you would just have to use a thicker piece of copper, or you'd have to like plate something, copper plated. I don't know how they used to be made back in the day. You know what I'm saying? But I think you want copper plated tools. But you can get copper pretty thick that's not going to really bend. Crystals are water, basically like a wall, like it's yeah. To say it's frozen, but they're moving. You know what I mean? Which is strange to think about. Yeah, Gary Baxter, salt air causes copper to oxidize. Yeah, I mean the green on it is nice. There's something good about that green. It's like where you get the word green bloods from. You know, it's like red bloods, which are iron-rich people, and I don't think we're supposed to. I'm under the belief, and this is just a wild theory that I have, but I've met somebody that I looked at their veins and they looked green to me. He was a strong motherfucker, and he told me he was green-blooded, and his veins looked green. And so I think that like when you get into like what is the chlorophyll, the difference between the diet we've been told we should eat, because you got to remember again, this is everything is upside down and backwards and confusing. Iron rusts, and if iron rusts, your blood is red. So why would we want iron in our blood if it rusts? But what is the element in the food that we get? It's, well, we say, oh, we knew everything iron rich, and they start putting iron in our cereal at a very young age. But if I go look at the plants, they're the structure of the hemoglobin for them, their blood, it has magnesium in it. And it's also said, because they'll give you some of the story, but not the whole thing, that the number one element missing in the human is magnesium. Magnesium is connected to Mag, which is magnets, which is also green, which is called the Green Witch or magic. Mag, everything to do with magnetism and magic and all of these things. So if we're missing magnesium in our diet, that magnesium should be coming from the plants. So maybe we should be magnesium-rich creatures. How many people you know that are like on a high fruit, high vegetable diet that are like in bad shape? You don't. That's an impossibility. In fact, when you really get deep into the natives of the land, like these people are like on a high, like seriously on a higher vibe. Why? Because like how fast does a peach grow? But you know it takes a very long time for you to grow a steak. You don't grow a steak. It's already eaten the shit from there and turn it into. Now you got to go through this whole process of getting a second. Basically you're getting a third level. You're getting the third level of blood plasma, which would be the blood plasma in an animal. And that's what you want, is you want the plasma. You want the plasma of the juice. So if you take an orange and you suck the juice out of it, that's the plasma. That's the blood of the juice. That's the blood of the fruit. So in the same way, if you eat the green stuff, that's chlorophyll. So look at all the green things that they tell you should be eating. You shouldn't be eating it in little quantities. You should be eating it in very high quantities. Now, you'll probably feel very sick at first because it's going to be cleansing you so much, and it's going to be what does if you know this, if you take it's because there's a webbing or a netting in the fibers of the green material that's cleaning your body out. And so whenever you take in, say, they say that if you eat a lot of cilantro, it's chelating heavy metals from you. Okay, what if I ate a lot of that? Well, then you're going to be pulling a lot of heavy metals into your system because you don't want heavy metals in your system. Magnesium isn't a heavy metal. So why would you want heavy metal? Now, if heavy metals are controlled and connected to the moon, imagine how much less control those kind of energies would have over you, to the point where you wouldn't be controlled at all by them. So what you would do is you would ingest spirit, you'd ingest, which is breath, or if you want to do it through the liquid form, there's beers and wine and alcohol. And then if you want to just do it through the fruit form, you do it through the fruits. And if you want to do it like this, is where all of this good stuff comes from the tree. You're not supposed to cut the tree down and use it for firewood. You're supposed to eat the fruits off the tree. It's death-free. It comes back. And even have the milk of the cows, because it's a death-free food. So is honey. No death occurring there. It's just nectars of life. So you consume the nectars, or the netters, the netters, which is the nectars. So wherever I was going with all that is to say this basically the iron-rich blood has at the center. It shouldn't be iron-rich. That's what's causing aging to happen. If you believe in the Bible or any of these other stories about people living for hundreds and hundreds of years, because they were living off of the land, they were living with the land, on the land, but were consuming of what was on the land. They weren't hunter and gatherers. This is fucking ridiculous. There was no hunt. The amount of hunting that went on was very minimal, and it was for certain reasons. They were more like just eat when hungry, sleep when tired. There's a delicious thing falling off of the tree. Let's eat that. Oh, there's some on the ground. Let's put that in a container and we'll make a spirit out of that, and then we'll have a party. That's what was happening. And then somebody's like, one day, I don't know where and how, but then people started eating things they shouldn't have been eating. And that's the longest story that I don't think anyone will get to know anytime soon. Hopefully, we can find out. Maybe I'll try to get out there and find out the info on that one. But there's a connection to, I think, what the ice wall is, what the unmelanated version of humans are, and I think really always comes back to blood plasma and what the iron is and why we shouldn't be consuming it. Yeah, there you go. So zinc was the other one, right? Yeah, brass is an alloy of copper and zinc. Yeah, so and so then we think about wearing copper and all the energy that is held within copper. Leo, I hear you there. And that's interesting. I mean, well, the connection to the Sharifs. I mean, you'd have to go over to Egypt. You know the Sharifs. I mean, the Sharif. Well, that then yeah, there's more connections there. That's a really long one. I don't have that right now in this AM hour. I'd have to revisit that just a little bit to get it right. But I mean, you could make do with that. Like, I mean, the copper badges are copper colored, so it's kind of like it's a connection to the natives and also a connection to the gypsies and the even the Egyptians. And could the eyes changing color suggest energy is flowing into one eye and out of the other? 8C. I think so, for me at least, because in some way I can feel that. Um, my body has always done that, and I say it jokingly, but I say this is my scanner darkly and my scanner lightly. Um, this kind of balances it out that I see. So to be able to see and hear. I mean, it could be. I mean, I've gone through like fixing this eye a lot, but I kind of it's very funny now it's fixed. Like my vision doesn't really get worse or better. My vision just stays the same. But this I feel a density of energy in this eye where I don't feel it in this eye. I can clean up my eye a little bit, put some urine in a cup and some cayenne, but and that'll brighten up my vision. But that's interesting. You say it that way. Maybe, maybe. Because if you think that you're collecting biophotons and you're spitting them out too. You're damn right, Gary. Yeah, colors are weird, man. Colors are a weird thing. The meat wad. All right, Fire Drake. Good to see you, man. Yeah, chlorophyll in plants and hemoglobin in humans. There you go. It's the same thing. But if we say we're a plant, but their roots are the opposite way ours are, like it's kind of an interesting idea. And people say everything's upside down. So what if we just started be like the plants do? Oh, Fire Drake. Yeah, I hear you on that, man. I always catch myself doing that. Like whenever it's usually it's that weakness in self. It's always a weakness or an overbearing or some like you know I don't want to see anybody go through the trouble I went through. So sometimes I'll be like, fuck, don't do that. I'm like, oh shit. Well, yeah, that's right. I see why you're doing that. It's like how to teach that without you know it's like some teaching is done through do what I say, not what I do. Some is like mimic me. Some is, some people learn by their audio, they're acoustically inspired. Some people are visually. Some people, a lot of people mimic things. But there's a lot of different learning styles, so that there's always that we play with. Does this person respond better to words? Does this person respond better to like little actions here and there? Let me get you a little snacky. Give me 1 second, y'all. Let me go put some snack in this little thing's bowl. She gets a little needy in the AM. You know what you're getting? You're getting. Get some walnuts, huh? Get some walnuts for the little puppy. Make her brain work better. Maybe you'll be able to do telekinesis with her soon. Oh. Where we at here? I've never heard of Tim Riffat. I'll check him out though. Yes, Leo, put that on one of my other videos. You know what I mean? You know how this works, because I'm not gonna come back through here and I'm gonna get like, what was the guy's name? If you just send me, if you have my email, you do, right? Either hit me up on my email or put it on one of my other videos. Yeah, the green eyes with the red hair. Whoa. Gary Baxter, when you lived in Vegas, Buster Douglas came in and he ordered 3 huge steaks, chewed up the steak, sucked off the juice, and spit out the meat. That is amazing. See, there you go. And there's some juice right there, right? So this is like the blood of the grape, the blood of the cow, though. That's just, there's going to be so much more. He got them medium rare, didn't he, or rare maybe? And you probably worked somewhere had really nice steak. Yeah, that makes sense. You don't want to be digesting that. You just want the energy. Uh-huh. Huh. Yeah. Hey, Leo, as soon as I hear him talk, I'll be able to know in like 20.2 seconds. I'll just hear him talk and just see him make a couple quick maneuvers, and we'll see if what he's got to say. Yeah, Sydney, fruits and vegetables are the sun food. Yeah. So that's the order, man. You know, when you get to the breatharian thing, then it's just a choice to eat. Like them, they're like, oh, you're not a breatharian. You eat sometimes. Like, yeah, but when most people think about like what you need to do to survive, you can't really be a breatharian in a city. It's not going to work because there's not enough charge in the air. You could be in the country, the forest, or the mountainous region. Well, you probably didn't want to be in a mountain. You could, but country or forest, you could be a breatharian. Like, but you wouldn't even want to be. You'd still want to consume some fruits here and there. You'd still want to, have a garden and all that shit. But yeah. I mean, the sun and the breathing is all you really need. I mean, you want the electrical charge. You want that energy. Energy does not come from the density. Density is the pulp. And when the only reason you should be putting pulp in your body is to clean out what you've put in prior. So like that's really what the next meal you eat, you're not really hungry. You more want to get, your body is saying, get this shit out of me. And so you put more food in your body to get the old shit out of you, but then you've got to eat more to get the old shit out of you. But if you really knew, if you just cleaned your whole tube out, you wouldn't be hungry. You'd be thirsty all the time. That would be your level up. And you'd be like, you'd recognize what thirst is. And you go drink some juice and some water, and you'd be like, I have energy. I'm not hungry. You'd recognize what energy was because your body would be a conduit. And if you clog up the conduit from here to your butthole, if there's any clogs in there, your body's saying, "Hey, push this stuff out. Get this stuff out of here." And as soon as you do, it can collect. The higher thing that I don't. Your body is more acoustically driven. It's acoustics that is driving your body. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah, like people like that, I listen to until I hear them say the key wrong words, and I'll be like, I take what I can from anybody, like, and I don't take from people, you know what I mean? Like, if you listen to somebody talk, like everybody's gonna have 80% good information. Some people they're doing it on purpose, and some people do it because they don't know any better, and some people do it they're just like, so when all these people on these flat Earth shit out here, there's so much chaos in the community. Everybody's a fucking shill, and everybody's this and that. I'm like, okay. There definitely are some shows, but then there's other people that are they're just wonky, dorky, nerdy people that have they read a couple conspiracy theories, then they figured out the Earth was flat, and then they went off on some fucking crazy tangent, and all of a sudden now they're trying to mix up, they got all of the stew of mess, right? The aliens, and then the underground bases, and then they'll listen to the media, but they hate the media, but they're lying about this, but they're telling the truth about this, and the whole thing just becomes this big pot of like, well, which one are you going with here? Do you accept that the media is lying to you about fucking everything? That would be including all the things that you think they're releasing all of this information. Oh, this was government classified information. Now they're releasing it right through the media. Well, how are they doing that? Oh, that's right. The media is what it's called, like the fourth arm of the government. Anybody know that? That's how that works. They want you to consume. They're just giving you fear and consumption. To think these people are doing all of this insane shit, that's why these people out here are insane. Out here in the world, they watch the news. They know the news is lying, but then they'll read something and they go, "Oh, see, I told you they're all fucking up." Well, I thought the media was lying. I thought they were on their team. So they're just causing you more confusion. Because I don't think these people in these organizations are really, eh, their their noble lies are to protect their own secrets. And because if you see skull and bones on something, that's gonna scare you. You'll be scared of that. So if they tell you some bad, they tell you the stories like around the campfire, these spooky stories. How many of them you know to be true? You know none of them to be true. And I think when people, if you were to start your day going, I don't know anything to be true. I don't know anything except for what I encountered today. That rids you of like PTSD. That rids you of anxieties. It rids you of depressions. It rids you of all these things. It's a difficult task to wake up every day and say, I'm a new person right now. I'm a new being. I'm a new whatever. And you just keep doing that, and you would never really know anything. You would maintain your capacity to use language for sure, for certain. You still maintain your memory systems and all of this. It's not really getting rid of the ego, but you're getting rid of identifying with, I don't know, is that person looks like that person. That's a trigger mechanism right there. I see. They used a word that I've heard before I didn't like. So you stop responding to people's. It's like, I wild out in here because I think it's funny. Some people say some stupid shit in my comments. I don't give a fuck. I think it's funny to me. It's just one part of my personality. But like in the real world, it's like, sometimes it's like, fuck this person, whatever. You don't even know what their intentions are. You don't know what their meanings are, especially if you don't know their language. So that's just how to like kind of uh, be more fluid with the environment to stop. It's time and time again. People, the same people that swear they're woke, they still listen to the news. I'm like, but I thought you knew that shit was fake. And then they cherry pick what they want to believe. Like it's all or nothing. That's what you get, all or nothing. Pick one. Are you all in on this one? I know. I hear you there, Gary. I hear you there, man. That's right. I hope so, man. I mean, I think the media is changed to the point where people are either going to uh, accept um, the value of, like, now that we're all like we do this YouTube thing, and there's all of these different outlets for media through this and that. I mean, there's still attempt for certain people, and again, and I don't even say people, I'm gonna say corporations, to control the media to a degree. Even though now there's more people with voices, um, I think there'll be a point where people just go, no, I respect that person's, the sound of them, or the what they, seeing auras or whatever. If people, everyone could see auras, we'd be fine. But they just look at the TV and go, oh yeah, that person's a lying piece of shit. Turn the channel. But because people can't really see auras, you could still hear them if you knew what you were looking for. Meaning, you would get rid of your preconceived notions and you would listen to the sound of someone's voice, and then you would know. Look at blind people. They're better at singing. They're like happy with what they have because they don't have to see the bullshit. They don't have to play with the colors game. They don't have to play with the race cards and all this bullshit. Motherfuckers, where are we racing to? Where are we racing to? Where are you going? Oh, I haven't figured that one out yet. I used to run, only for sport though. It was just a game. And I was like, almost nap time. Mm. Yeah, everybody, you know what? That's where I try to get to the point with people like, here, we're living underneath the moon. We're underneath Nanar sin. Everybody's in sin. We're in this sine wave. We're just out here just playing. Just everybody fucking relax. It's not, stop poisoning the people. Stop putting poison in the water. Stop poisoning the food. Because it's actually coming back to harm the people that are doing the poisoning. They can't even notice it. If you really looked at the law, if you zoomed out of this whole thing and then you see the people poisoning the food, it's poisoning the food that's becoming the people out here being poisoned that are then in the jobs that are going to come back and whoop these people's asses. I don't even saying that like in a physical sense. I'm saying like they're actually injecting poison into their own water that they're drinking and then into their kids and wondering why their kids hate them. And so now their kids are the ones like, you fucking pieces of shit, we're supposed to be taking care of things, but you were poisoning us this whole time. But you wanted the money rather than take care of your children. See, that's what's gonna come. That's what comes back on everybody. The kids will be like, "Oh, I thought you were supposed to be taking care of us. You fucked everything up, huh? Oh, and now you want to blame us for you poisoning us. That's not making a lot of sense to anybody. We can see the poison everywhere. It's in the food, it's in the water, it's in everything. And they wonder why people act a fool. They wonder why people are wild out here. Well, let's go back to the source. Let's go to the source of the river. Let's go to where did it start? Let's go there. And then you know what we're gonna be doing? We're gonna be walking right up into the doctor's offices and say, hey, what's in all of these ingredients here? What do you know exactly what all of these things do? Do you want to drink that? Oh, how about this fluoride in this water? You want to do a shot of that with me? Oh no, that's gonna kill you? So you're okay putting that in here, poisoning the next generation? Weird, weird. Who told you to do this? Now let's go walk in the scientific labs. See all these people with white jackets and coats and all this shit on. Who's paying you? What are they paying you for? What's their agenda? Oh, you don't know? Okay, let's find out. And we keep going back and back and back. Where are we going to go back to? Then we're going to go back and we're going to find Jesus on a cross. And then we're going to find Muhammad. And then we're going to find Gandhi. And then we're going to find what? God. The whole thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, it's pretty simple. Just stop putting fucking poison in the water. That's about it. Stop poisoning children. That's about where you'd start. That would make number one sense right there. Yeah. Yeah, the incubated mercury. Let's see. See what they didn't know, Gary Baxter, is that there's a few of us that are Mercurian. Like you're only giving us superpowers. They maybe they knew that. Maybe they knew by putting mercury inside of all of the vaccines they put inside of Mercurian children, or the Geministics, or the ones from, you know, that realm. Maybe they gave us superpowers. Maybe they thought they were poisoning everybody, but then they just forgot about or shit. Or maybe it's so intelligent that my higher self actually put mercury in the vaccines so that we could find the people here that have fucking superpowers now instilled into them so we can fix all the problems for everybody else because somebody was trying to poison people with vaccines. We're like, hey, just put some oil of mercury in there. And they're like, oh, this will help poison? We're like, yeah, that will help poison. No, you gave us Fulbright scholarships. But what do I know? Who knows? Who knows? Mm. Mm. They tried to poison us, but only made us stronger, huh? But then I say, who are they? Did my ancestors let this happen? Am I my ancestors? And then we get into this whole giant, like, philosophical, like, oh, am I the only one here? How does it, then we go off into this, like, la la land of fantasy world. Gary, that's hilarious. I've seen some studies done on mercury not being as poisonous as once was thought. It's kind of like uh, radioactive material. I don't know if you ever seen that dude who actually plays with radioactive material and is basically like just saying that nu like the nuclear hoax and radioactive material and all this shit, it's all a big scam. And this dude was doing this like in the 80s and 90s. I forget his name. I posted a video of his maybe like 6 months ago. Yeah. So check it out, y'all. I'm gonna go take this dog for a little journey out into the world because she's all up in my area. But this was fun. Hope everybody enjoyed this. Maybe I'll come on a little later. Um, but that's hilarious. The mercury and play with it. Yeah. Well, that's why we linked up, Gary Baxter. I think we've got it. I think everybody on here got the Mercurian brains. It's like, which is like, maybe it made our pineal gland work better. Who knows? So let me take this little puppy outside. I hope you guys had fun. This was a fun talk, and maybe I'll get on a little later. We'll see what happens. So, bang bang. Stay cool. Do groovy things. Get up a day. Keep your ass clean, and eat well. Drink well. Be merry. Fuck Mary if you like Marys. Or married women too. I don't know. I know married women they tend to be out there in droves looking for the young studs like Gary Baxter. Peace out, y'all.